right?
How long have you done this?
18 years.
Yeah, no wonder you're not terrified.
Yeah.
No, I'm not terrified. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear stuff in the headphones? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
See, you're just in your own world,
Not
right?
really.
You're right here. And so, yes, we are going live on Facebook right this minute. And yes, this is the Christian Car Guy. And I am just so grateful that y'all are joining us today because we got really a treat as far as I'm concerned today on the Christian Car Guy podcast. And if you're watching this live on Facebook, your wife, and on YouTube, you know, you got some really brave youngsters right here. This is the West Ashbroro Baptist Church in Asheboro, North Carolina on Urari Street. This is our youth group. How fun is this? And these guys are brave enough. I wonder if you would have been brave enough at their age, right? To get on the radio slash Facebook slash YouTube and literally, um, share a little bit. So, to pick on somebody, which is obviously something we've got to do at some point in time. Let me tell you guys that here's the rule in radio and Nick would tell you this because he went to college to learn this stuff, is that these microphones, you got to get up close enough to like they're a phone. And so as much as you guys keep backing away from him, at some point in time, in order for him to hear you and I to hear you, you got to get up on it. So Hayden, there's the smile. I knew it would come. All right. And so Hayden, like, it's a terrifying experience, right?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I can't even imagine when I was your age. I remember I ran for student council, and I had to stand up and give a speech. And so I can kind of feel like what you might feel like right this minute. But the really good news is, we last week as a youth group we went to see the movie Twister, right? And so you got to see it, Hayden. And so, like, when we went there, we were looking for, how do you see God? Where did you see God show up in the characters in the movie Twister, right? And so, does anybody remember the names of the main characters? Yeah, Addie, what? There's a microphone right there. What are their names?
I know Kate.
Kate? Come on, Faith. Who else?
Yeah, you've seen this movie twice, so you should know.
Yeah, Kate. That's good.
Hobby or something like that. That was one of them.
Hobby. Right. So, like, Hayden, in your opinion, which character do you think was kind of portrayed as Jesus?
I think it was Kate because, like, towards the end of the movie, like, she went into the tornado to save the people, and I think, like, that's something Jesus would do, or try to, like, help with everything like that.
Right, literally almost sacrifice your own life, and that's a great observation. The other thing I thought was really cool was she wasn't, because if you're familiar with the Twister franchise or whatever, the idea is that they're chasing down these storms, and for a lot of it, they're just doing it for the thrill, right? Like, blowing off rockets inside of it or whatever. But so, Faith, like, from your standpoint, why was Kate doing that? Yeah, she's smiling. Why do you think Kate was chasing those storms? What was her real purpose?
To protect the people.
Right. She was trying to make the tornadoes evaporate, right? Right?
Yeah.
That she'd done the science project clear back when she was in middle school. And so you can't help but see that was kind of her purpose, right? And so, we don't want to rob Hunter of this opportunity. So, Hunter, step up. Come on. You got to get close to the mic or we can't, So, you saw the movie last week. What was your favorite part? And again, you got to get close to the microphone, Hunter. There you go. Way to kick him forward, Nick.
Probably the end.
Oh, right. The end meaning when he goes after Kate. In other words, he finally figures out that, wow, I better, really commit myself to this situation. Or are you talking about where the tornado doesn't kill everybody? Which part?
When the tornado, like, when it gets bigger and they're running from it.
Right. And so Caleb, who I know is very brave, actually, so I'm not worried at all that you got this. So Caleb, like from your standpoint, was that pretty horrific that these people are being killed right and left?
Yeah, it was. It was.
Were you expecting it to be as violent as it was?
Yeah.
You really were?
Yeah. When you chase tornadoes, stuff like that's probably going to happen.
I always think that I underestimate the power, like how scary nature really is. Like you think, oh yeah, but man, when you're actually in it, all of a sudden, like this is real and it's life and death. Like your friend Corn would say, this is real life.
Yeah.
And these people really could die. And when I was your age, I didn't think that was all that something I really needed to think about. Do you ever think about that?
Sometimes.
Yeah. So why do you think this can be a good answer? I'm leaving this wide open. Whoever wants to answer it. And I noticed that Hunter turned the microphone away from himself. And so, Aiden, if you
better get in on the action.
if you want in on this, and we haven't heard a lot from over here. Yeah. She sees the microphone going to her. So, you're welcome to jump in here whenever you want, Eddie. And so, like, from y'all's standpoint, why would I take you to see that? Why would a youth group leader or a pastor of a church, why would he take you guys to see that movie?
As a way to tell us, like, no matter what comes your way, you can overcome it.
Yeah, wasn't it amazing? Like when those people knew what they were doing, that God somehow or another also protected them. Like when they stayed low and they went to help other people, like God had a place for them. What were you going to say, Hayden?
I was just thinking like that, like even when adversity comes, because towards the beginning of the movie, like all of her friends got killed and stuff, and then she was like put back in the situation, and I was thinking like maybe because even when God sends you through adversity, it's to help you come out stronger throughout the end. Because after she came back through that tornado, she gained the courage to like drive in it by herself, and she saved all them people. So
Right.
It's just like don't stop just because one thing happens.
And she faced her fear. And so why do you think I have you down here facing your fears? Do you see a pattern? Do you think I kind of knew? Because guess what? I mean, the first time I was on the radio, I was terrified. I don't. However, you're going to go home and go, man, that wasn't near like what I thought it was, or whatever. So, speaking of that, Aiden, you're over there hiding against the wall. Just step up here. This is your first time ever to our youth group. So, tell us your impression. You just rode all the way from Ashbroro to Winston-Salem in a van with a bunch of young folks. And so, Aiden, tell us, here you are at a radio station. Did you really expect to do this today?
No, I thought I was going hanging out with my friends, but they drugged me to this. So
And so your friends are
Hunter and Caleb.
And do you live close to them?
Yeah, about 5 minutes away.
Oh, so out there, yeah. Your neck of the woods. So are you having fun?
Yeah.
What do you think about being on the radio?
You're just talking.
Yeah, it really is. That's all there is to it. At the end of the day, when you go home, you go, wait a minute, we were just talking. And so we had a little homework assignment, you might remember. And that was to go look at, whirlwinds or, those kind of storms in the Bible. And so you guys have had a chance to talk about that in the trip over here. And what about those different things in the Bible jumped out at you? Addie, we haven't heard much from you. And so Addie, of the different scriptures that we talked about, the different ideas we talked about, which one jumps out at you like, man, I really never thought about that? Yeah, go ahead. We're okay. We're patient. Something's going to jump.
I don't know.
Come on, something you're like, man.
I got something.
All right, go ahead, Caleb. Bail her out.
The fact that Elijah got sucked up by a tornado, as being a teenager boy, of course, if I got to go to heaven like that, man, that'd be awesome. I'll tell you, the thrill of that would be awesome.
All right, well, you just watched that happening for a few of those people in Twister. If you knew you were going to be okay, it'd be awesome. But man, I mean, I don't know. I don't like to spin around on merry-go-rounds. I don't know that I'd be okay in it. I'm just saying. I don't know.
But when you think about it, it's over and done, and you're done. You ain't got to suffer.
Not always.
Well, not always. It's a fair point, but
Yeah. So, Addie, going back to you, like when Nick, which I thought he had a beautiful, like for those who've seen the movie Twister or maybe have some idea of the old Twister, that Moses was guided through the wilderness by this pillar of fire by night. And I don't know if you've ever thought about that, was the fire would probably been lightning, that was coming down in this tornado. And so as you picture that, he had a green picture of lightning in a tornado. Is that can you imagine every night, like trying to sleep? I'm just saying that there's lightning like that. I'm just guessing there's a little thunder to go with it. Would you say?
Probably.
So can you even imagine like what that might be? What would you think it feel like?
Like it would be, I don't know. But it would probably hurt.
Yeah, especially that, like
I would
Dorothy
think
went
so.
up in the, if you watch The Wizard of Oz, that cow going by, if that hit you, it would hurt, Elsie Mae, isn't that the road that you live on? that those kind of things, they kind of, so as you're picturing this idea in your minds, the scripture that jumped out at me before Nick got there, and I think always will, is that if you sow the wind, you reap a whirlwind. And I got to admit it, that when I saw Twister, I was shocked. I'd seen the old one, but I'd forgotten how violent all that is. And years ago, I've never told you guys this story. I was, my parents lived in Kansas City, and I lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I was probably not much older than you. You're 18, right? I was probably 19 years old. And I was going to drive from Kansas City back to Albuquerque. And I stopped somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, for the night to sleep, And so I go to bed that night in a hotel. And, I wake up the next morning and the town looks like one of those crimes. Like it was just no town left. Like just the hotel I was in was intact, but everything else had been completely destroyed. And it was just like, it looked like something exploded the entire town. And it was like, man, these things are incredibly powerful. And that idea of awe or the fear of the Lord, it's right there. So when you think about it, if you sow the wind, you're going to reap a whirlwind. We talked about if you sow a smile, right? Look, I can even get a smile out of Caleb. If it doesn't take long, and he smiles, especially if you're watching on Facebook right now. If even Hayden, look at him, there he goes, right? Hunter, yeah, this smile at him, and they smile. And so think how many smiles you can get if you just sow a little smile. So if you sow a little love, right? If you pay for the person's food behind you in the line at Dario, right? You'd be surprised at how much love that you later reap, because if you sow the wind, you're going to reap a whirlwind. If you sow love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, every little seed you sow has in it a seed for another tree. And inside that tree will be hundreds of seeds. Or just think of one stalk of wheat, right? You plant that seed, you get 50 seeds. So that's really good news, right? But now I want you to picture this. If you sow one insult, just one, you say, especially to your parents. I used to hear this from my kids. I know you might find that shocking, but Dad, you're so annoying. Right? So you sowed one little annoying. That's all it was, just a little annoying. Guess how many annoyings you got coming back at you? Think about it. And there's the point that if you sow this one little thing, and I saw it illustrated one time. It's like you throw one golf ball at somebody. How many golf balls are coming back at you? If you just take the wheat, like you sowed one wheat thing and this grew a whole thing of wheat, you got like 50 wheat little berries. From a standpoint of you sowed one, you get 50. Or you take a cherry tree, you sowed one little cherry seed. How many cherries you getting? What do you think, Hayden? How many cherries you getting from one seed?
A lot.
Yeah. And every one of those seeds grows another tree full of seeds. So God's economy is if you sow a little bit of something, you're going to get a whole lot of something back. That's why if you sow a little bit of wind, you get this tornado back. Well, little do we know that with our sin, when we sow something so small as this little insult or this little lie that we told, oh my gosh, if it's all coming back at us, it's unbelievable. So I want you to think about the next opportunity you have to say something bad about somebody. What if you said something good? What would you reap? What do you think, Faith? Right? If you were sitting there going, you're fixing to go, oh, you moron, right? Let's be honest. I've said it probably 3 times today in my head. But right? If I could somehow or another, I say, God help me to say, oh, I bet you're trying as hard as, I'm sorry. I don't really know what's going on, but I'm so grateful that you're here with me, or you're my friend, or whatever it is that you say then what's the difference? What are you going to reap? Right? And so here's another little reason that we did what we did was if you go have a good time with your friends at church, aren't you sowing something good? And how much more, and I love that you brought Aiden, right? And you brought Carly last week, and you guys brought, I was trying to think of his name. Is it Colin? What was his name? The other young man that you brought that came and left and didn't, he wanted to do crafts. Colin, right? And you brought Adam, right? And so you guys are all sowing really, really good seeds. What has that got a possibility to right? Just literally trees. Pretty cool. And with as much power as that tornado, right? Which would be really, really cool. So how do you think Elijah ended up going up in that whirlwind? Have you thought about that, Caleb?
No.
What do you think? Oh, I see her. Yeah, she took the mic your way. What was Elijah's relationship with God?
He was a servant of God.
Right, in so many different ways. But also when he had a really big problem, he was literally losing his mind, who did he run to?
God.
Right. Who was his best friend?
God.
Right. And so every time he sowed into his relationship with God, what is God going to give him? More God. And so he had sowed a lot of God, and what did he get? A whirlwind of God. Is that pretty cool? Had you thought about that? It really is true. And same thing with Moses, right? Have you heard that Moses was met with God face to face? And so why do you think Moses had these whole tornadoes in order to guide him? As Nick was telling you on the bus, there was one that guided him at night full of lightning that looked like fire. And then there was one that looked like smoke during the day. For 40 years. You got these pillars. Man, I think in a way, or here's something to think about. I'm jealous, man. Like, wouldn't you like to wake up in this morning, like God, where should I go today? And the pillar takes off. Like, here you go. There you go. Right there. Aren't you supposed to go that way? Would that be nice, Faith? Yeah, not
Yeah.
too hard to figure out. I'm supposed to go that way, and the pillar stops. Okay, now I clarity. I like that. So, is there anything you would like to say in this podcast that you have not had a chance to say? Hope. Hayden, do you want to make a shout out to your grandpa or anything? This is your chance. Caleb, come on. Your mom's watching. She's like, come on, son. You got it.
I'm gonna say like youth group is like it's more than just going to church for church. You mean you go to church for church, but you also go to church like you get that experience, that fun, but you also get like the biblical lesson with it. And Robbie does a great job of it, and we've had so many other ones that do a great job of it. And for teens that don't go to church, they really need to go to church because they all think it's just boring sitting in a pew. And there's churches like us that we go do stuff, and it's more than just boring. It's fun. It's amazing, like this opportunity tonight.
And scary.
Yeah, but it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
And not on top of that, you get to have all your best friends here besides you cheering you on, encouraging you to do it. So I think it's amazing. It's fun.
Hayden, come on now. Your mom's watching.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you
Come on. Hayden, you
Mom.
got something. So tell your mom or tell the world, like you had a really big week. Like what happened, man? Like 3 weeks ago, you thought, well, gee, I think I want to go to this Christian school. And man.
So I mean, I guess it's just always like go for what you want. Is like never think you're not good enough or something or you can't do something. Because like here lately, I wanted to go to a new school, and my mom and dad, they worked real hard, got all the forms filled in, and I finally got the news today. I got accepted. So thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. Thanks for all that work, even when I don't deserve it.
Yeah. And so, Hunter, you've been to how many boot camps, do you think, Hunter?
I think 3.
3? Give me a break. You've probably been to 5 or 6.
5.
Yeah. All right. And so, like, you remember there's a Cowboy Ranger phase that happens after the boyhood phase. And do you remember what Cowboy Rangers, the boyhood needs to know in that stage of life, you need to know that you're the apple of your father's eye. But as you begin to be, test out your strength and all that, what is it that young people your age, what do they need to know? They have what it
Takes.
Correct. Ding, 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 ding. Thank you for playing. We're going to get you a book. So a big part of what really I was doing is that what we all need, especially at your age, but we need it as older adults, is we need to see that we can come up against something that looks hard. And when we do it, then we go, oh, I can do that. If I had to do it, it was uncomfortable. I can see that you guys aren't having the time of your life just yet. But when you get home, you'll think, man, look at that. I was able to do that. I was actually said things that meant something. But more important, really inside of you, I did that once. And I got the chance to do it. And I survived it. And even, Aiden was over here on the deal. And so what is the P on your hat? Like, man, what's that?
The P on my hat stands for the Penn College.
Really?
We host baseball players for the Ashbroro Zookeepers, and every year for like 7 years, I think, we've hosted players from Penn, and they've been wonderful.
Really
Boy,
wonderful.
I have really learned something. Our baseball team in Ashboro is the Ashboro Zookeepers.
Mm-hmm.
That makes perfect sense.
And the reason why they're held together is from the host family, so they can't do it without the host family. So if you got room in your house, an extra bedroom, host a player.
Really?
Yeah,
Have you done that?
7 years.
Really? And you got a hat out of the deal.
Yep.
Do you like baseball?
Like watching it, not a fan of playing.
That's cool, though. And so, obviously, so what league are the Ashboro Zookeepers in?
They're in a college wooden bat league, the CPL. They have other teams that like range from anywhere from Virginia to South Carolina, all over really the state of North Carolina.
And so the college wooden bat versus the college aluminum bat?
Yeah, just college ball versus, and this is like some summer ball. They can play it better. Like the player this year we had, he got injured like 2 weeks in and stayed for my birthday. But then
Did he
left.
really?
Yes, and then he left because he said this is just one bat league. I'd rather better my college game and let it rest.
So what an experience your parents are giving you there with the. That's really cool. Did you
Yeah.
guys know that?
Yeah, we actually stayed at his house during his birthday, and the ball players were there. And I'm gonna tell you, them ball players were amazing. Great guys to hang out with, be around.
That's really cool. Hunter, you were going to say something. You grabbed the mic, man.
You gotta say something.
Yeah, now you're locked in, locked and loaded.
I just wanted to say that Aiden is a big fan of blitz ball.
What is blitz
Blitz.
ball?
It's like wiffle ball.
It's like wiffle ball.
Except for the balls don't have holes in them; they're solid. They get much further.
Yeah.
They go further, and
More style.
you can it's way easier to pitch.
So, 2 weeks ago we were in Vacation Bible School. Who could forget that, right?
Mm.
And Hayden, which team won the dodgeball?
Oh, come on now. We ain't got to get into this.
Yeah, it was my team. It was me and Charlie, and I don't remember who else was
Scott.
on our team. Scott. I know I was on.
It was actually humiliating.
all I remember is Robbie fell, and I
Man
promise
down.
I didn't hurt him. And then Nick, he took one to the face, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, and literally, I don't think we hardly ever got anybody out on. Not only did we lose every single game, but we barely ever got anybody out on. I think
I
we
don't
might.
think we got but one person out.
Who was it? It was you. Oh, you can speak. Here you go.
Yeah, it was me.
So, are you honored to be the one person to get out, on that team that just humiliated? We really appreciate your help. And, Faith, you didn't play.
No. I didn't.
So, nonetheless,
Last time I played dodgeball, I got hit in the nose.
I
Yeah,
think we
took
could
one-
have used her on our team. She wouldn't have got hit, but she could have won.
yeah.
She could have got some people out.
I think
No.
we could have.
I can't throw.
We could have had probably 10 people on our team against the 4 of y'all and still probably lost.
We did. we
Y'all had a powerhouse.
it was humiliating, but,
It was fun.
it was definitely fun. Something I'll never forget as long as I live. I'm sure. The agony of defeat.
Real question is, who won the watermelon spin contest?
Yeah. Who?
That would be, I think, Charlie Miller.
Well, we're talking about the youth watermelon spitting contest. Like you have never seen. We had a watermelon spitting contest, and I am shocked in awe of how many seeds were spit by these 3 right here. Like, how many seeds do you think you spit?
At least 50, maybe 60. I was out there spitting them for 25, 30 minutes straight.
Yeah.
I spent 0.
I came home and I had the worst stomach ache ever. I ate too much water. I ate way too much.
But you won.
He did.
Hey, then we got the Brad.
Hunter won?
Yeah, he he fired that thing.
Hunter, what do you owe your success to?
Like,
What now?
Do you know how to do it? Can you give us some ideas?
nah, I just spit.
You just got a lot of hot air, or
Just gotta spit
Yeah.
seed.
Well, he never shuts up, so he's got have a lot of hot air.
he seemed to shut up this whole podcast. Just saying.
Put him on the spotlight.
So never may be a strong word, under these circumstances. So, well, I am really, really grateful for you guys facing your fears. And I would imagine you're not near as terrified right now as you were.
And I got one more thing, Robbie.
All right. You got one more thing.
Back to what Hayden said about your parents and thanking them. As a family, we got to talk with you, Robbie. And people really should, kids, especially teenagers. I'm bad at it. We don't ever say thank you to our parents. We always think they're out to get us. And I think if people really would, if you'd say thank you to your parents a lot more, you'd be a lot happier.
Yeah, you're going to sow some good seeds right there.
And I've noticed, when I do it, it's always a change in atmosphere or mood around the house. And I'm bad about not doing it a lot of times.
Me too. Yeah, you can do that with your wife. You can do it with your kids.
And
Yeah,
for that,
just
for
appreciate
that,
that.
Mom, I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I should do better.
There you go.
Thank
That's
you,
what we-
Mom.
There you go. And stepmom, right? Or however you term that. And so that's
Yeah.
impressive.
And I'm always mad at my mom. I'm always mad at my mom, but like I know she's there trying to fight to get me and Hunter back in school. And it's tough. We still ain't got a place, but I know she spent countless hours on it that we don't know about it. Making phone calls, emails, and all that, filling out forms, trying to get us back in school.
Yeah. So if you're watching this right now, let's just pray, right? That this Nicole is her name. And so, Lord, thank you for what Caleb is bringing out. That, Lord, we know you're behind everything. And just like you were saving those people in Twister, you've got a school for Caleb and Hunter, and you're hard at work at it, just like you did for Hayden. And so, Lord, we don't know where that's going to be. Would we just pray that you would guide Nicole on the place to apply, or give them peace on the place that's going to happen? Would you just open up that door, create that opportunity for them? And I know you're at work in this, and I thank you for what you're doing in it. And we just pray again for this family. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Wonderful, guys. Thank you. We're signing off.